With nothing to win, nothing to win. Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Step in the fire, take my hand. I'll take you higher than you've ever been. Than you've ever been.
Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same and not waste a second more of your time than we have to. Bada bing, bada boom, into the charts we go. Well, it looks like we're coming back into the 41 days of accumulated longs over here into these pools below. We've had this projection out for a few weeks now. Since this 236 could not hold, we've just been making our steady descent down into these regions. We broke the 786 last night. The idea of putting out a diamond bottom was negated shortly thereafter the live, and we did make our way down to this one region, and now we are into the diagonal fib 0.5 level. Currently we are below the premium of this diagonal fib. We are at a discount region within this upward structure. Now if you were to go all the way down to mean reversion techniques, you would be all the way down to here to be at break even, which would be at 19,451. Before we do that, let's go look at the liquidity of high block. What is high block? Well, it's when people leave their liquidity in the charts to be burnt to a crisp by the market maker, who comes and grabs them for not using a stop loss and repossesses their money. So let's see who got repossessed today. We'll start not our time up. So there's different time frames. You have the 1 minute and the other time frame. So here you see these longs getting liquidated here, but you can't see that there's other pools, so you have to step a frame above into the higher time frames and expand your vision to the 1 month here to see that what they were aiming at was not in the internal pool but the external liquidity pool. And as you see here, they took out 22 billion, 20 billion, 16 billion. That's over 60 billion dollars there. And then you have 15, 10, and 13. You got about 30 billion here, and then beneath that starts to taper at 8.7, which is why we're starting to make our ascent up. Are we going to go lower is the question on everyone's mind. We currently displaced that imbalance we were talking about. If we were going to go lower, this is where we were going to go, is what I said, and we did take that imbalance out of the equation. So could we go lower? That is the question on everyone's mind. So let's go to the 7-day and reassess what happened. Oh, by the way,
Fatality.
for those rest in peace, those long brethren with the Moon Boys and the Hopium and all that. So on the 7-day time frame, you see it's less billions because it's only what is accumulated in the last 7 days. So they've taken out all the longs. There's nothing left but shorts. Are we going to see a bearish retest up? What do I mean by bearish retest? Bearish retest of what exactly? Well, if we look here, this is kind of like a shoulder, head, and shoulder pattern. We did put that idea out a few times. You have a shoulder, head, and a possible shoulder. And are we coming back to test that neckline area? Is this going to be, technically you could do it down here and up here. Yeah, are we going to come back to that neckline of this and see ourselves to the downside is the question. So we have to look at the 1 minute time frame to see what is above. As we dropped below here, we started to see this 100x pool of 263 million open up here. They got knocked out not too long ago. This is about 2 or 3 hours ago. They came and knocked out this 100x pool of 263 million in shorts. And are they going to go higher? There's 263 million up here at 50x at 2669, and another pool up here at, whoa, would it load for me? Shout out to everyone here. Hopefully everyone's viewing properly. By the way, high block costs a pretty penny, so if you don't mind hitting that like button and consider subscribing, you can get this free analysis of the liquidity with nothing more than asking from you but your time. So if we see this up here, we do have these pools of 50x up here. I would be surprised if we don't make a retrace up there. Are we going to see a inducement before we make our way up to these pools? That is the question. The upside pools are still up here in terms of the stacked pool at 2852. I'd be surprised if they don't come back to this at some point before making a descent below, if that's their intention to go below. They did knock out the pool, so going up and grabbing some of these pools above would be the juicy target to hit at this time now that they knocked out the pools. Let's go back to the 1 month. I think we already assessed the 1 minute time frame thoroughly yesterday. You can go back to that video to see which pools and targets we're aiming at. Basically the 50x and the 100x up here at 28.235, between that and here at 28.69, 28.7, and above at 28.85, and there's some more that were lost to farther time up here. All right, so as we saw, this imbalance to the downside got removed, and are we going to go lower? We could just slowly bleed out, but you're not in double digits here on this time frame. The imbalance is up here with the double digits. So are we going to start making our retrace back up while we accumulate more longs for that, paving the road to the downside again? On the 3-month time frame, however, you expand your vision here and you see there's mighty juicy pools still down below at 26 even, 35 billion, 41 billion at 25.8, 53 billion at 25.6, and 57 billion at 25.4, and 51 billion at 25.2. It starts to taper. By taper is still 32 billion at 25 even. So on this 6-month time frame, now that we've expressed interest in this external pool, this could be where they are heading at 25.291. Would also coincide with this pool here, 25.291. This would end this yellow pool here of basically $150 billion in long liquidity. So it wouldn't be, I said it wouldn't surprise me if we come back to knock out these $41 billion in long liquidity. I was considering that they would come back at least to take out some of the shorts before they did that. But yes, they did come back with a fury to these guys for not paying themselves. So let's go see where we stand on that. So this is starting to get thicker up here at 31.2, 55 billion, 49 billion at 30,200, and 49 billion at 33.4. These are starting to get yellow too. They previously did that when they got bearish over here. They get bearish and then they come up and stab these pools at a later time. So are they getting these thick after they come and take these out? The 22.4 region starting 22.6, 22.4 has over 122 billion down there as well, and this entire region is caked to the downside for that pool. If we go to the 6-month, you'll see it even more clearly as we expand our vision. All right, how's everyone doing? What's up, Rayman? How you doing today? My voice is kind of wrecked. I kind of caught a cold from my mom as she was leaving. So let's see, we got 73 billion that they came here on the 6-month. That's a lot of, there's still 73 down at 25.8, and 79 billion, 25.9, and 68 billion at 25.2. So these pools are on the table. It just makes sense if they were aiming lower. It's not that far away to go get these pools, and there's nothing stopping them from just bleeding on out. There is 100 billion down at 22.5 as well. These pools these used to be more yellow in my mind. So the 6-month pools here have kind of gotten less, but by less it's still 73 billion times 4. So that's about 28 billion or 280 billion right there. And so yeah, you're just seeing this imbalance being recovered. There's clearly more longs than shorts in this time frame of 6 months. So that's why it's starting to come back at resistance. As we look at the 1 month time frame, 1 year, you're going to see this number fade to aquamarine as the values represent more. To be yellow would be 200 billion. So the 100 billion would be this aquamarine color here on the left. And so everything kind of gets even Steven as you start to see the yearly time frame has some pools up here now approaching 100 billion. So you have $300 billion up here at 33.2 and nearing that at 34 even, and you still have even the narrative up to 34.8 with $130 billion there. So you have a $500 billion in this region, marionette stringing the price possibly to the upside at some point for that fake out, similar to here where we had this 155 billion they left on the table, which they brought to 780 billion before they came up and grabbed it. So are they going to do something like that where they retrace into these long liquidity pools and then some bearish news comes out and they just shoot it up in the short's face? That seems like that could be a possibility if they come down to this 100 billion pool at 25 or 24.8. They could see that just insta surge through, cap through all of this and just go right for the gold at that region up here at 32.4 or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it does something like that where it surges up in similar fashion after they grab the liquidity that they're satisfied with. Even when they went here, they had more liquidity down here. They had 87 billion at 18.8 and 100 billion at 18.4. It doesn't always come and get everything, folks. So there is a time where they will be satisfied enough to go continue the narrative if the bullish narrative is still on. So don't necessarily believe that a bear market or a bull market is still on. Just go with the flow of each day by day play and you should be okay. All right, so we go back to the monthly here, stay this 1 minute time frame on, and we will go to our regular Binance chart because the Binance used to have the most liquidity. I saw a picture not too long ago saying Binance has some less people, but that makes sense if they're having regulation issues abroad in the US and stuff. So the day before yesterday, our idea of coming up to the pool that we outlined here did play out, and then we saw this steady descent and tapering and holding of the 786 region. We said there was a potential diamond bottom, which did not play out, and they did not come up to this region, but the fair value gap in these pools still exists. So if we are going to see a reversal, a recovery of this vector candle, whatever you want to call it, this liquidity pool is going to come back into this void, potentially speaking, and take out some of the liquidity as we're seeing here on this recovery of the 6 hour candle here. And so we're going to go to the hourly time frame. Let's throw on our indicators and not waste a second more of your time here. Boom, boom, and boom. This is Momentum Master, folks. Link in the description for more, momentummaster.info for more. You can look at the components and everything in its glory. Scroll down to features and basically see this heads up display of Bitcoin's bottom at 15K. Before we knew it was the bottom, we saw these rocket ships appear, and that was the structure we always look for, and it has all of these things intact. So you can look at each component, the stochastic array, a never before seen formula which simultaneously monitors more than 7 time frames of information, considering over 32 different indicator values. And so you can see this and read about it at your leisure. So we're seeing 6 time frames oversold. We saw them here, and the baselines were above the price, so you wouldn't have considered this a true signal if you were looking at Momentum Master. However, currently now you're seeing the 6 time frames oversold and the crossover event on the hourly time frame. So you could take that risky play to the upside to at least see if it makes a stab up to this cloud to get rejection and find potential support to the upside. So when it gets this thick cloud, if it's thick like this, you tend to get rejected on the thick clouds and come back down, and then you wait for it to do something similar like this where it breaks above the cloud thins out as it did here, and this thinning of the cloud had it stab up to that liquidity. So if you're looking at Momentum Master and you saw the trend cloud, this is a volume weighted cloud formula which expands and thins according to the amount of volume present in the asset. So this was similar back then, and it's similar back here, and it just repeats the same thing over and over and over. Now, does it continue at this point? It did not continue, but you would be seeing different features on different lower time frames for that fatigue potential and moving your stop into profit as well. So you'd see this cross down event. The baselines were above the price and we dropped down. So the baselines will have you at hello at every step of the journey if you drop to the lower time frames and see that fatigue on the baselines. So as you see here, the baselines are holding the price. That is a support structure to the upside here, and we are starting to pierce that cloud. And as Pierce Brosnan likes to pierce that cloud and do his 007 thing, you see this come up, and it could, even on the smaller time frame, pierce up and kind of try to find support before continuing to that region on the hourly. So you'd just be monitoring this on the lower time frame. So you would have even got a 7 time frames oversold here, and that was your ideal entry, and that alerts your phone, similar to this dynamic alert system, a set and forget system. You only need 1 alert, so even if you don't have a pro account, you can just use your 1 alert to its fullest with Momentum Master. And if we look at here, we are getting volume stepping in to try to pierce this cloud on the 15-minute time frame. We got 3 minutes left in this candle are we going to see it close above the cloud. If it closes above the cloud, that could be a shift in character, change of character, choach, whatever you want to call it. Smart money concepts are represented in the momentum too, so you could just look at these patterns and see these things as well. Okay, so we're starting to see this double top. So looking at the stochastic RSI, you are seeing this potential surge in the double top scenario. The MACD giving the Williams its escort to the upside here. And let's go to the 12 hour. We're jumping around today. The 12 hour is starting to make a slight curve up here. If we zoom in here, we can see the KD line is crossing up, and we're seeing a mighty purple here as all these money flow is beneath the RSI. It could come up here to kiss the RSI. It does do that a lot. You're in the green on both of these indicators, and the Williams is getting in that scoop to scoop idea, which it does before it surges. So this is the 12-hour play potential if you just play these things and forget the bearishness stories of other things out there and just look at the money flow coming beneath the RSI here. Money flow was beneath the RSI here and it came up. So these things repeat themselves. Like I said before, all of this has happened before and will happen again. So I'm not feeling any bearish or bullish nature. It's momentum we want to catch, hence momentum master. You want to catch these pivots and profit as a result. So are we going to see this crossover event and see the rising sun take us to the upside on the 12-hour time frame? That will be obviously mirrored in the 22. My treasure 22, the unsyncopated rhythm of such. You do see the money flow coming beneath the RSI here, which could come back up on you with the stochastic and the Williams all in your favor. Mighty purple for that high energy oversold wave to the upside potential. Okay, seeing the 6 hours starting to curve up here. You did have a false rising sun event here, but you got to play it when you see it, as you see it each time, or you don't make any money. So you could consider this to be a zone for a potential bounce, if not a bearish retest before we continue. So you could take this for whatever it's worth, whether it's, you know, 1% or 4 or 5 or none at all. At least you tried and saw what things occurred. So what we put out last night to Rainier's group, we saw that the baseline was holding to a point, and then here it started to fatigue, and really when you cross the 786 of this trend-based bearish fib extension level, that was your key idea that this support structure of this bounce potential off that bearish trend-based fib level was going to fail, and you were bound for these regions below. And then you got the cross down event on the 4 hour, and I believe you got it on the 6 hour as well, which negated this one, and boom, we were down some more. So this had you at hello on this candle, which also led to these 4 candles here, which gave you that percent potential. So the baselines have you at hello every time. That's why they are the baselines. They're your first sign of reversal. And so yeah, we're looking for the 6 hour, 4 hour, 12 hour, 22 hour, and potentially 1 hour cascade. The 15 getting pushed up by the 1 hour. You're getting a rising sun potential here, and the baselines crossing over at underneath the price. It likes to scoop it up like a what's it called, like a ice cream scoop, we say, at this weird angle. What is that angle? Let's just find out. I'm gonna guess 35. Oh, it was close enough. 37. But if we go over here, yeah, it was a 37 degree angle. Like, so it comes down at this angle and starts to curve in such a manner, and this manner is like kind of seen the way you see it, and then it scoops beneath the candles here, and then you get that crossover, and it's just kind of this thing that happens over and over again. And you can go to the 1 minute NASDAQ futures and see this occurring there too, which we will be doing later. If anyone in the Discord and Momentum Master wants to come check it out, I will be going over potential setups with that there. Link in the description for getting funded on futures trading if you're interested in that as well. Yeah, anyway, let's move on with that. So the hourly, we're at the bottom of the Keltner channel here. So when you're at the bottom of the Keltner channel, you got, which is an ATR based dynamic range field, and you got the baselines coming beneath the price. You can forget all the bearish news, forget all the liquidity, on higher time frames and just say, okay, let's just test it and see what happens. And then sometimes you will get that move and then the fake out to the downside, or you'll get the cross up and then you'll fade. But if you lock in your gains, or at least put it to break even as you profit, then you're secure. And most of the times these things will play out with a little bit of profit in mind every time. So it's a pretty fun tool, to say the least. And these can be set as alerts as well. All right, so what's next? I think that's pretty much it. We're getting really fast at doing this. I mean, we got into this thing. We're going to see if this closes above the cloud here and then it could reach the top of this ATR on its own time frame, come back, kiss the cloud, and see its own little thinning potential here, and then see that surge up as well. So we're seeing that occur as we speak. Just like yesterday, we were seeing some sort of surge up. Where was that? I think it was like over here. Yeah, we were seeing this come up and then after we went live, after we stopped going live, it started to dump down. But you could have gotten those potentials and locked it in and seen when it closed beneath this bearish trend ATR level. If it cannot break this ATR level on the 15-minute, then you're just doomed for more downside. This is a super trend level that needs to be broken and have candles closed above it for that to change. And this is the 15-minute minutia, so if you can't even do that on the 15-minute, then you're just doomed for more downside. So you just reclaim those levels and then you look to the next level on the higher time frame. So you would see the 1 hour is up here where we have our other thing, which would be something you stab up to the cloud on and then get rejected, and then see if you can find that muster the strength to break that bearish trend. And that bearish trend had you at hello since back here. So you could have, just taken the hourly play and just trusted it for what it was worth, or moved your stop into that region. But the cloud is mighty thick here and shows no signs of necessarily abating just yet. You would have to come up and pierce it, or at least put a battering ram up to this to start to see this shift. And it's currently not doing that. The tilt is to the downside. If and when it starts to curve, it'd have to curve in this manner like this. I'm not seeing that curvature just yet, so I'm not convinced that it's going to go there per se. We'd have to look at it very closely, and we're still seeing this angle that's not curving just yet. This has a little bit curved potential, but it stopped here. So we'd have to start seeing this taper out in this manner. It would have to taper like this and start to curve for any idea like this to come to fruition. And by the timing of it, Saturday probably be somewhere in Sunday, Saturday, I don't know. Weekends don't really have pumps. I have seen dumps over the weekends, but I don't really recall seeing pumps during low liquidity weekends. I remember a fateful Saturday as I was shopping where we dumped from 50K down to 41K. So we did have a huge dump weekend one time on a Saturday afternoon. So I don't remember a pump happening that often though. Anyway, let's see how you guys are doing, and then we'll bid you adieu. I think you are due for this 15-minute to get pressed to the upside with the hourly 4, 6, 12, 22 cascade to some degree. How far does that degree matter? I don't know. Remember, you always have two bottoms, so the double bottom you could come back at any moment on and come back down into these regions here for that double bottom and then come up too. We're just gonna leave that there for what it's worth, like that. All right, so let's see what you guys are up to, and we will start to head off into the sunset for futures trading. It wants that 50 SMA on the 15. Let's see. What's up, APV? How you doing? Wendy, what's going on? Yo, yo, yo. 15-minute 50 SMA. I don't know where the 50 SMA is, but we do have this 200 weighted moving average here, which happens to be up here. We don't use the SMAs because they are simple, and we are not simple folk. We are complicated, so we like more interesting moving average with interesting colors. No, but simple is cool too. But what the baselines are is basically a sped up leading moving average, one of the few leading moving average formulas on the market. So when you get these crossover events, they generally lead what price action is going to do later. So you get this cross down event before a big dump, for example. So we had the 6 and the 12 and the 8 hour cross down before the dump even occurred. So you'd be looking for that to cascade that event. But all right, folks, well, I have to get in the zone and start trading on my sim accounts and getting ready for this, trying to link up some accounts there on NinjaTrader. So I will bid you adieu. If you have no questions, I will keep you updated on the liquidity as it changes as best I can. Currently, you have this imbalance to the upside for 18 billion after liquidating a bunch of longs here. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of bounce to the upside to at least recover some of the late shorters who entered off of some of these red candles. So just beware if you are in a short that you might want to consider paying yourself. Nothing goes down forever, just as nothing goes up forever. The one thing that does suggest that it could continue further down is the 3 and the 6 month time frames, which do have that 150 plus billion down here at 25k. So if we do go up, that could be a bearish retest to come back down into these regions if we are so inclined. But beware of that growing narrative to the upside at 30k plus from all those shorts that are up there on the yearly time frame. There is a narrative being built in similar fashion where we could come surge up and grab them without hesitation as well. So always keep yourself shielded and protected at all times, and always be ready to pivot on a dime. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks, and I will leave it short and sweet, and you can go check out your other streamers and see what they have to say. So I will bid you adieu. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same to bring you the fire, the precision, the accuracy, and all that fun stuff. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.